All right, the automotive landscape is completely changing. At this point, it feels like every single automaker is ready to move on from the internal combustion engine and toward electrified vehicles, including Porsche. This is the Porsche Taycan. The Taycan is Porsche's answer to the sustainability call. Let's talk about it. The Taycan marks the dawn of a new age for Porsche, going from the ultimate driver's car to the ultimate electric super sports car. It might be electric, but it's not sacrificing any performance. Has 404 horsepower, does 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, has a 208-mile range, does a 79.2 kilowatt-hour battery, and all that with 0 emissions.
A commonly overlooked reason for us to switch away from gas cars is the looming energy crisis. While climate change is also happening, gasoline is finite, and we need to switch away from it. Out of Porsche's current listings, 4 out of 6 cars are electric. And there are 3 main ways that car companies are switching to a more sustainable future. Here, an electric car. Here, a hybrid system. And the third, which we are here to talk about today, e-fuel.
So one big thing with Porsche is that we're very committed to keeping the sports car. So it's really easy to make an electric car fast. They're all kind of inherently fast just by putting an electric motor in them. So Porsche's definitely spent a lot of money on aerodynamics, handling, and braking systems to make the car still feel like a Porsche, even though they are electric.
How has the driver experience focused persona of the cars changed? Car enthusiasts like ourselves find enjoyment in the little things like the noise and the nature of the car.
Yeah, absolutely. So Porsche's added a couple little features. We do have electric sport sound, which does provide some sort of noise, kind of almost Star Wars noises, not quite exhaust noise. I know it's not the same, but they've still added all the performance options that we know and love from our gas cars, Sport Chrono, the PASM suspension. So they're trying to sprinkle in as much technology that we've had from the gas cars, just make sure that it's electric proportioned, and it also has the sustainability that Porsche's kind of targeting.
Has there been more customer interest in sustainable vehicles with the likes of the new Taycan and the new Macan?
Absolutely. So we're getting a lot more questions about electric vehicles. Porsche has also done some hybrid systems for people that aren't quite ready to jump all the way into fully electric, but it's definitely something we're seeing more on a day-to-day basis. The Macan is actually our biggest selling car. We sell more Macans than every other Porsche combined. So we're just starting to get our fully electric Macans here within the past week or so, and we're thinking that's going to be a big seller. But yes, it is a frequent occurrence. You're hearing about it on a weekly basis for people who are looking to get an electric car.
So what do you think is the ideal future for automobile moving forwards?
I think that there's there's always going to be a place for that gas engine as long as possible, but it's going to be, definitely moving towards electric. And the big things keeping that going are going to be expanding charging stations, and then also increasing or decreasing charge times and increasing the batteries of the vehicle. So, range, charge times, and charging stations are going to be the 3 biggest path forwards to make sure that, Porsche and all other EV manufacturers are able to continue what they're looking to do.
All right. Thank you.
E-fuel is the most interesting of these innovations. For the first time in history, Porsche, over the last 2 years, has invested in vehicle-to-grid technology in Chile. It's sort of like the ones behind me, but for gas-powered cars. The idea is incredible. Zero-emission fuel that can go into your current Porsche or any gas-powered car. To keep cars like these on the road, Porsche e-fuel is the future. It's really cool. All you need is a glass of water and the air. You first have to understand that for our purposes, there's 2 main parts of fuel: hydrocarbons and methanol. Both of these parts can be made in a responsible and carbon-neutral way. All of this comes from the idea of combustion. Internal combustion engines are called that because they work through this process. And as we learned in any general chemistry class, the products of combustion are carbon dioxide and water. The good thing for us is that carbon dioxide is abundant in the air, and water is abundant in water sources across the world. So we take water from a water source, carbon dioxide from the air, and we combine them in various chemical processes to create hydrocarbons. Similarly, Porsche has these chambers that suck in carbon from the air, store them, and use them for a process called methanol synthesis. We also need H2 for that, and Porsche doesn't have the capacity to make H2 quite yet, so they ship them out. But soon they plan to create more infrastructure to sustain that. But anyway, once you have carbon dioxide and H2, we perform the methanol synthesis process to create methanol. And there's yet another synthesis process. I know, a lot of synthesis happening here. But methanol isn't quite ready to be gasoline. So methanol has to go through a process called methanol to gasoline synthesis. And the end result of that is that we get a gas that is almost the exact same molecular structure as traditional gasoline. The idea of Porsche e-fuel isn't to replace traditional gasoline or replace electric vehicles. It's simply a proof of concept. Because the thing is, this e-fuel isn't going to be a carbon neutral source, right? Because when you put it in your car, the same things are going to come out of your tailpipe, right? The same exhaust fumes, the same emissions. The idea is to make the process of creating gasoline completely carbon neutral. In fact, carbon positive, since you're taking it out of the air, so it balances out and we can be responsible with the status quo, right? But that also means you really need vehicle to grid technology everywhere to make this carbon positive or really good carbon neutral. Because if not, you have to ship it across the world. So unless you're in Chile at the Porsche factory, this isn't really a possibility for you right now. But Porsche has proven that if there is interest, and this could be a better way, or at least a way to keep the current cars on the road around. Because again, we already have the infrastructure, we already have all the gas stations, so it'll be a lot cheaper to implement something like this in the long run. Right? As Bill Gates has explained in various speeches and his books, there's something called the green premium, which once there is demand, the green premium goes down. So with that said, Porsche e-fuel is a renewable carbon neutral source. But right now it's super limited. But it is hope that Porsche icons and other icons like the Porsche 911 and the Carrera GT can continue to live on beyond the internal combustion engine.
And that is how automotive sustainability stands today. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Porsche Cincinnati Kings for letting us film your cars today.